Welcome to your deep dive briefing on augmented reality in construction. You want to know more about fourth gen AR?
We've got you covered.
We're going deep into this business case, BIM Analytics and AR. It's an internal document
Oh, wow.
about using augmented reality to not just see a construction site, but to see its future.
Okay.
Think projected completion dates hovering over unfinished structures.
Yeah.
It's predicting if something is going to be compliant or not before it's even built.
Interesting.
Okay, I know what you're thinking.
Yeah,
Is this some futuristic fantasy?
right.
Well, that's what we're here to find out. This document lays out this company's plan. They actually want to make fourth gen AR a reality. And get this, they even break down how they'll do it.
Wow.
It's like we're getting a sneak peek at a high stakes pitch meeting. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's back up a bit. Most companies are using what's considered third generation AR.
Right.
This tech lets you do things like overlay images and get data in real time right there on site. It's like instead of a site manager trying to match what's in front of them with a 2D blueprint,
Mhm.
they can put on an AR headset and have potential problems highlighted right there in front of their eyes.
Exactly. But this is where fourth gen AR takes a giant leap forward. It goes beyond simply telling you what IS and uses something called Building Information Modeling, or BIM, to reveal what's likely to be.
And that's where things get really interesting because we're talking about using data to predict the future, kind of like having a crystal ball but for construction.
Exactly.
The proposal really hones in on two key areas: compliance probability and completion forecasting.
Okay.
Let's start with compliance. Meeting those building codes and specifications is a big deal in construction, right? A missed detail can lead to costly fixes down the line.
Absolutely. And right now, compliance is often reactive. A problem pops up, and then it's a scramble to get it fixed.
Mhm.
This proposal envisions fourth gen AR flipping the script.
Imagine an AR headset that not only shows you a wall being built, but also gives you a real-time probability score, how likely it is that wall is compliant with building codes. That would be a game changer.
Exactly. And that brings us to the second key area, completion forecasting.
Traditionally, construction projects often rely on static timelines like Gantt charts, which we know can sometimes be more wishful thinking than reality. So instead of crossing your fingers and hoping you'll hit that deadline, fourth gen AR analyzes massive amounts of data like material deliveries, labor availability, even weather patterns to generate a dynamically updating completion estimate. It's like having a crystal ball that tells you how the project is actually progressing, not just how you hope it will.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Okay, so we've got AR headsets showing us potential problems before they happen and predicting if a project will be on time.
Right.
But let's step back for a moment. Why should you, listening to this, care? This is construction tech, right?
You're right, it is construction tech. But this technology, if it works, has the potential to impact us all. Think about it more accurate. Project timelines mean buildings and infrastructure are completed on time and on budget. Fewer compliance issues mean safer structures. Ultimately, a more efficient and cost-effective construction industry benefits everyone. Whether you're a developer, an investor, or just somebody who lives in a world built on construction projects, this tech could have a real impact on your life. And remember, we're not just speculating here. We're diving into a real company's plan for bringing this technology to market.
It's like we're getting a sneak peek at a high stakes pitch meeting. So, where do they plan on starting?
Well, they start by mapping out their target market,
Okay.
construction companies and investors.
Makes sense.
No big surprise there, right?
Yeah.
They've also done a deep dive into their competition, which is heating up. We talked about those companies already using third-gen AR, but this document names some heavy hitters: AECOM, Hyundai, who are pouring resources into AR tech.
Oh, wow. So they've really got their work cut out for them.
Yeah, and the author sees this as both a good and bad thing. They know they need to catch up when it comes to third-gen AR, but they also see a chance to jump ahead of everyone else by being the first to launch fourth-gen AR.
It's a bold move for sure, but risky too, right? What if the construction industry isn't ready to handle this type of technology?
It's a valid concern, and the document acknowledges that. The construction industry is sometimes, shall we say, set in its ways. They're cautious about adopting new tech, and understandably so. When you're dealing with multi-million, even billion-dollar projects, you don't want to be the guinea pig for some untested system. That's why this proposal doesn't just lay out some utopian vision. It gets into the nitty-gritty,
Right.
how they'll address the risks and make sure this tech is viable.
Give me the highlights. What are the biggest hurdles and how will they overcome them?
Well, one of the biggest is getting everyone on board. That's always tough with any new technology. I mean, the companies that control the existing infrastructure.
We're talking about the companies that make the AR headsets and the software needed to run all those complex statistical models, right?
Exactly. This proposal specifically mentions partnering with companies like Microsoft, the maker of the HoloLens headset, and Trimble, a big name in construction software.
And those partnerships are crucial. The last thing any construction company wants is a bunch of systems that don't work together. They want something that integrates into their existing workflow.
Right, and the author seems to get that. The proposal lays out a multi-pronged approach. Partner with the big tech companies, and maybe even acquire smaller companies with specific expertise in AR development. They're covering their bases.
It sounds like it. But what about the tech itself? Those statistical models that make fourth-gen AR possible, how do we know they'll work the way they're supposed to?
That's the million-dollar question. To their credit, the proposal acknowledges the risk here. They can't just assume their models are perfect. A sleek AR headset won't do much if the algorithms driving it are faulty,
Right.
and that's why they're dedicating a large chunk of their budget to research and development. They're going to put those models through rigorous testing. They're putting their money where their mouth is. The document even mentions plans to collaborate with Stanford University, which has that top-notch engineering program, to really put their models through the ringer.
Partnering with a prestigious institution like Stanford is a brilliant move. Not only do they get access to cutting-edge research, but it lends a lot of credibility to this whole fourth-gen AR idea. And get this, they even plan to get engineering schools in Peru involved in validating these models.
Oh, wow.
Peruvian schools. That's interesting. Why Peru specifically?
Well, the person who wrote this business case is based in Peru. So they probably have connections with those institutions. It's a great example of leveraging local expertise. It also highlights the global vision behind this whole endeavor, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This isn't just about bringing fourth-gen AR to one specific market. The proposal talks about pilot projects in the UK, the US, and of course Peru. They're thinking big.
It's exciting to think about, but this is still a business proposal. They're not just trying to change the world, they're trying to make money.
Absolutely, and this is where it gets really interesting. The document doesn't shy away from the financial realities. It has cost breakdowns, revenue projections, and even a timeline to becoming profitable.
So what's the verdict? Are they going to make money?
Well, like any business venture, there are no guarantees. But what I find compelling is that they've thought this through. Not just the tech challenges, but the business side too. They're not just dreamers.
Yeah.
They're doers. They've identified a need in the market, they've developed a solution for it, and now they have a plan to bring it to market. Can they pull it off? We'll have to wait and see. But they've done their homework.
They've definitely got ambition, but there are always those who resist change. Not everyone will be so quick to jump on the fourth-gen AR bandwagon.
And that's to be expected. Change can be intimidating, especially in an industry like construction that's often slow to embrace new methods. The interesting thing is, the document argues that the real value of fourth-gen AR isn't just the technology itself, but the shift in thinking it represents.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. Tell me more.
Think about how construction works right now. It's very reactive.
Right.
Encounter a problem, find a way to fix it. Fourth-gen AR, with its focus on predictive analytics, flips the script to a more proactive approach. Instead of putting out fires, you're anticipating where those fires might ignite and taking steps to prevent them altogether.
Exactly. And that shift from reactive to proactive could have a huge impact across the construction industry.
Absolutely.
It's like going from a world of firefighting to fire prevention. Much better to stop the problem before it even starts.
Couldn't agree more. And it goes beyond just saving money or time. It's about a safer, more sustainable, and ultimately more efficient way to build a future.
Now that's something I think we can all get behind. Speaking of the future, the document concludes with this statement. The new AR service can be integrated with current related services quickly and represents a premium version of them. What do you make of that?
It tells me they have a smart business strategy. They're not presenting fourth-gen AR as some kind of replacement for everything that came before it. They're positioning it as an enhancement, a premium upgrade. So instead of telling construction companies to throw out their current systems and start over from scratch, they're offering a way to improve what's already in place.
Exactly. It removes that barrier to entry. Fourth-gen AR feels less like a risky overhaul and more like a natural progression. It's the difference between switching from an iPhone to Android, a total system reboot, versus simply upgrading to the newest iPhone. One feels jarring, the other's practically seamless, and that's how I think they'll win over those who are skeptical. Not by forcing some brave new world on them, but by showing how fourth-gen AR makes their world better.
Right.
It's a compelling pitch.
Exactly.
But I guess that's where we, the informed listeners, come in. We've gotten a glimpse of what the future of construction might hold. Now it's up to us to decide what role we want to play in shaping that future. Will we be the ones pushing for adoption of 4th Gen AR, excited for all its potential? Or will we hesitate, clinging to what's familiar?
Absolutely.
It's a decision with far-reaching implications, and one I imagine will be debated for years to come. And on that note, it seems we've reached the end of our deep dive into 4th Gen AR. But the conversation doesn't have to end here. Head over to our website or social media channels and tell us what you think. We'll be back next time with another deep dive into a topic that's shaping our world.